Or ladies and gentlemen, hello loves, this is Mike. So today we're going to go over two very important things. That is the weather card and logbook and how to use both of them. And I'm going to disappear here in this screen in 3, 2, 1, gone, right? So let's start with the logbook here. Now this is the training log. The training log, very important for you in the future to make sure you're documenting your tours. You need this for Yokelet 2 because you need to do tours under the supervision of a lead guide to be even eligible for Yokelet 2. And also, if you seek international certification, you have to have a logbook because they don't know what you did here in Iceland. So make sure that you fill this out. Now, one thing the logbook allows, it gives you some information here on what a Yokelet 1 gives you, the rights of a Yokelet 1, so it's important to read up on that. Let's jump over to the weather card. Now, this weather card is something I created, but basically just compiled information from another resource, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's go down and look at that resource now. So where did I get this information from? So if we look here, I got this information from the Canadian Avalanche Association's Observation Guidelines and Recording Standards for Weather, Snowpack, and Avalanches. Something I've experienced with during the courses I've taken in Canada some years ago. So great standard here to use, something that's internationally recognized. The only thing we added here was the glacier ice conditions. Right here, this was added, given to us by a guide, professional guide and instructor, Rich Bell. Excellent source here. So thank you, Rich, for this. Now let's talk about the different sections and then how to add them onto the actual logbook. So the different sections, let's talk about wind here. So as you can see, this is the wind section here. Just to take one example, let's jump into this moderate example. So we have moderate, and we have a description of what that is. So it's a brisk breeze with some drifting, and that's about 7 to 11 meters per second. Now all we have to write for moderate is M. Now down here we have to add the direction. So where's the wind coming from? And often prevailing wind we have wind from the west, so we can say west, or if it's coming from the northeast, whatever the case is. So we would have the speed of wind and also the direction of wind. Now we have the temperature trend, which is this box here. Let's use an example of falling slowly, right? Falling slowly. So that would be 1 to 5 degrees over the past 3 hours. This is an observation made over the past 3 hours. So you make the observation now, you say, okay, it's -3 for the past 3 hours. What hasn't been doing? It's been falling 1 to 5 degrees Celsius, and now we're at -3, let's say, for example, at the time of observation. And this would be, we would just have to document this, this down arrow and also the current temperature. Now we have precipitation type, and precipitation type goes from nil all the way to S4 for snow. So if we look at one example, which it was recently here, on Breda Melkriokut, we had light rain up to 2.5 millimeters per hour, and that's RL, right? We could also do snow, for example. We had some heavy snowfall, but not much, just a slight amount. But we could do snow at 3 centimeters per hour at S3. Now we move down to glacier ice conditions. Let's just look at something that's occurring right now. So this is moderate. As we can see, that was a terrible outline, but this is moderate. And what this means is majority soft ice, though with some areas of harder ice. Large shaded areas may have significant risk of sliding, right? So this is basically what Breda Melkriokut is right now. We have, generally speaking, summer crust, but we do have some areas it's been pretty cold. We're having some snow melts. We'll have some washing of the glacier. So we do have a little bit of firm ice in some areas. So that's something to consider until we get to this crunchy soft ice, the low risk condition. Now, let's talk about how to fill this out. So you can read these sections yourselves. I wrote these 3 sections here, as we can see, on how to fill them out. But I'll talk about them now in this section. So this will actually be our log here. We're going to put this information in the log. But how do we do it? We have wind temp and precip. So for wind, we have moderate wind, let's say, which is 7 to 11 meters per second from the northeast. It's currently -3, but it has been falling slowly for the past 3 hours, as we talked about before, as you can see in this temperature box right here. And then RL, which is light rain, up to 2.5 millimeters per hour. And of course, that day, what was the conditions of the ice? The conditions were moderate. So generally, pretty good conditions, pretty nice, relatively spring to summer ice, but also some areas of shaded areas which have some blue ice. So just to be aware of that risk. Now let's fill that into the actual training log here. So I'm going to go to the add text section here. And let's do so. It's the 5th. 05, 04, 21. Name of glacier, let's just say we were on Solheimajokut, near Reykjavik, 2.5 hours away. Now we're going to go to the wind temp and precip. So let's go back. We had wind moderate from the northeast, so M and E. And then we had -3 falling slowly. I'm just going to put some space here because we're going to show you how to do that later, how to put in the arrow, and then RL, and I'm going to do RL. Okay, so that's light rain. So now what I'm going to do to put in the arrow, I'm just going to put the signature request here, add signature. I'm going to go to add signature here on Adobe. I'm going to draw the signature. I'm just going to draw kind of that arrow that I want here. And I'm going to apply it. And that will allow me to pop the arrow kind of right in there. And I can even make it smaller if I wanted to. And that gives me falling slowly as we need. Okay, so that's the forecast there. Now we need conditions of ice, which we had as a mod for moderate. Let's write that in, MOD. Right, so that's a moderate. Description of day, let's just say we did some exploration. Yeah, good spelling there, like a boss. And then we have and exploration and ice climbing. Right, now signature of guide. Again, we can send it to the guide who was there, or let's actually close this out and let's go back to the signature. And let's just pop in a signature, for example, and go back here to draw signature. And I'm just going to do my wonderful doctor signature there, whatever that says. And let's pop that in to this area there. Make that a little bigger. And now, so that would be how we fill out one day. And you'll keep doing this every day that you're guiding. Now, the same thing here you can do, edit PDF, and you could fill out the name, date of birth, and guiding education just by doing add text. And then this is something you can have digitally. And then when you go to your hard ice course, you can print this out and give it to them so they understand who you were with and what you were doing. So this is something this is for the glacier. I do have one for the alpine, but we're just going to stick with the glacier one for now. So I hope you enjoy. And until next time, my friends, Shangri-La Ban.